Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our weekly live stream in the Thrive Beyond Pain community. Thank you so much for joining me. I do this every week. Right now, we're doing it Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we may change the time if there's a better time for folks. You can pop in the chat and let me know if this time isn't working for you, if you're watching the replay, but you really want to make sure to catch the live stream so you can participate in the Q&A, then go ahead and let me know just some times and days that may work for you. Feel free to send me a private message so that we can all come together as community to support each other in this group. I'm excited about today's topic, foot pain relief, and how I was able to hike 22 miles in Yosemite National Park. I had recovered from plantar fasciitis, which had been plaguing me for over a year. So it's a pretty exciting story. I also spoke about it a little bit last week in last week's live stream as well. So I'm excited to dive into this topic and share a little bit more about my journey, what worked for me, what didn't work for me, the challenges I faced, and in the end, what ended up being the game changer, what was the number one key that helped me to recover from this debilitating plantar fasciitis pain, is maybe something that you might not imagine. So make sure to stick around to the very end of the live stream today, because I'm going to share what that was that in the end really made all of the difference. So if you are popping on this live stream today, please comment and let me know where you're joining from. And if you've also experienced foot pain or plantar fasciitis pain, my heart really goes out to you, because I know obviously firsthand what a challenge it can be. And that's why I wanted to do this live stream today, because I know how common it is. I have worked with probably dozens of folks over the years that have struggled with plantar fasciitis and with foot pain. I've helped them recover. And for most of my clients, it was something as simple as stretching their calves, doing a calf stretch twice a day, in addition to a few strengthening and mobility exercises. And within 3 months, they were able to fully recover from plantar fasciitis. And then for, other folks, it's not as easy as that. And unfortunately, I was one of them. I had actually had it in the past. I'd had it maybe 7 or 8 years back from running. I basically just took a break from running and it went away, and then I was able to get back to it. But this time, it wasn't as easy, and I was feeling depressed over it. How many of you have experienced that before, that you have this condition that is limiting you or keeping you from doing the things that you love to do? And it can be really a bummer. It can just be the worst, because if you love to be, doing active things like I do, and you can't do those things because even walking hurts, then it can be really, depressing, honestly. So that was what I was experiencing. And, I really wanted to do everything I possibly could to make the pain go away. So that's what we're going to dive into in this live stream. And I will share more about what I learned and how I was able to hike over 22 miles. I think in the end, it probably ended up being more like 30 miles because of all the side trips that we did. But I also did it with a 30-pound backpack on my back, which, made it even more challenging on my feet. And my feet felt great. So I'll tell you about how I developed plantar fasciitis, because I think that this is also a common reason why people struggle with this condition. I dropped a 5-gallon glass jug of water on my toe. And so I cut a chunk of my toe off. And I'm sorry if that, I should have given you a warning about my story, but it took a long time for that foot to heal. I had to, of course, wear a bandage. There was really nothing the doctors could do. They couldn't stitch it up. So I had to allow my toe to actually regenerate, which the body is just so amazing. It did regenerate, and, the area that I had cut did end up, for the most part, growing back. I now, have a scar there, but I have most of the feeling there now. But it took some time. So while my right foot was healing, I was limping and I was putting all of my weight on my left foot. And so over time, that put a lot of force on that left foot. And because of the load, my body just couldn't handle that much load. And that's why I developed plantar fasciitis. So this is one of the number one reasons why people develop plantar fasciitis is they have an imbalance. A lot of times that imbalance is coming from their hips. One leg might be longer than the other. Again, usually that comes from the hips being uneven or unlevel. And so these are things that I look at when I do my initial assessment. When I work with my clients, I can, even through a computer screen, very clearly see where those imbalances lie, so that then we can get to the root cause of why you may be experiencing pain. So now I have, my foot's recovering that I cut, but then I have plantar fasciitis in my left foot. And as I said, it was just debilitating. I often will stand when I'm teaching, and I could not do that. I had to sit down, I had to take breaks. My clients were even worried about me because they know me and they know that I usually do not sit down, that I usually stand. I'm very involved when I'm teaching. And I was not able to do that. And so I had to take a lot of breaks. I had to stop hiking, which is one of my number one passions. I love hiking. I love being out in nature. That really hurt. I love walking on the beach. So none of those things I could do. So I really wanted to get to the bottom of what was going on. But because I was in so much pain, it was honestly really hard to envision how I would ever be able to recover from this, because here I am, I could barely walk. So as I discussed last week in the self-talk live stream, this was the first place that I needed to begin to shift my beliefs that I could get better. Because if we believe that we're not going to get better, it makes it much harder for our body to recover and do its job and to heal. So I really had to check myself, shift my own mindset, and say to myself, you are going to get better, you are going to heal, and you're going to get back on the trail. You're going to get to backpacking, and let's do this. So that was the first step. Is I really had to, start talking to myself in a more positive way, encouraging myself, and, being my own number one cheerleader. And this is what I teach my clients to do when I work with them in my Thrive Beyond Pain Blueprint program. And I'll give you a little bit more information about that in the end. But in today's live stream, I first want to start just covering what is plantar fasciitis and how do you know that you have it. And then I'm going to show you a couple of videos so that you can get a better understanding of the anatomy of the foot and the lower leg. And if you are experiencing foot pain, where this may be coming from a more kind of anatomical and physiological perspective. And so what is plantar fasciitis? Well, plantar fasciitis it's actually one of the most common causes of foot pain, especially in the heel. So if you're having, pain in your heel, it's quite likely that this is what's going on with you. But of course, you'll want to go to your medical professional, your doctor, and have that checked out to verify that. But what the plantar fascia is it's a very thick band of connective tissue that just basically attaches your heel to your toes and makes that connection. It is meant to absorb shock when we walk, and it has to do with the buoyancy and the strength of the foot. So we have this amazing, incredible design. The whole body is this amazing design, but especially the foot. And there's this whole tensegrity system in your foot. And so if that is out of balance, then you could potentially be experiencing pain, especially if you're doing any high impact sports like running, jumping, dance, and things like that. So some of the symptoms you may be experiencing, as I mentioned before, is that sharp pain in the heel, but you can also be experiencing pain in the arch of your foot. So I had that going on as well. Basically, my whole foot hurt. And particularly when you get up in the morning. So that is one of the number one symptoms of plantar fasciitis is you get up in the morning, you go to put your foot down and ouch, it hurts, and you have a hard time loading that foot. You may also experience pain after sitting for long periods of time or standing or even after exercise. And then usually as you kind of get moving around, that pain will lessen. For me, that was not the case. It was always hurting, and that's how I knew that it was pretty acute. But for most people, especially if this is more of a chronic condition, then usually you get, walking, moving, and you will notice that the pain starts to lessen and that the pain starts to go away. So let's talk a little bit about the more recent research on plantar fasciitis. What they are now discovering is that for most people, after a few weeks, it shifts from being in that acute inflammatory phase to then moving towards being more degenerative. And so this is why we really want to take a look at this and nip it in the butt right away and get to work on doing these methods that I'm going to talk about today so that this doesn't continue to become an issue over time and that we can really get to the root cause of it. Recent research is showing that in these chronic cases, they're noticing it's more like a tendinopathy rather than this inflammatory condition, and they're calling it plantar fasciosis now rather than plantar fasciitis. So this is important to understand the difference between these two, because like I said before, over time, the tissue starts to break down. And so that means that if you are struggling with this, icing your foot may not be the best treatment for you. And the reason why is because when we ice an area, then we are basically going to, stop the healing process, which can be really good if you're dealing with an acute injury, and that's most likely going to help with the pain. But what they're now finding, the most recent research is saying that because of this degenerative tissue, that icing's not going to address the core issue, and it might actually slow down the healing process by constricting the blood flow to the area, because your body is trying to repair and mend together those tissues that have these little micro tears in them. When you're icing it, you're stopping that repair. So again, this is important why, this is why it's important to really address this right away and to speak with a professional that really understands this kind of stuff and understands the most recent research on it. And, you're going to be able to really work effectively and get right to it and heal if you know what's going on with your body. So if you're wanting more support with this, then feel free to drop a heart emoji below and I will reach out to you for to see how I can support you and how we can figure out what's going on with you individually. So let's go ahead and start to take a look at some of the videos so that you can get a sense of the anatomy. I think it's easier to, see it than just hear it. And thank you for joining me, Gio. It's nice to see you. And if the doctor has zero background with fascia or structural imbalances, what would you do? Who is the best type of expert to work with for this condition? Yeah, that's a really good question. Like I said, a lot of doctors don't totally understand this. You want to see somebody that has a better understanding of the whole neuromuscular system, not only that, but biomechanics. And so it would be better to go see, a physical therapist or somebody that has really trained in this and has studied the most recent current research and has a lot of different tools that they can draw upon. So that would be my suggestion for that, or you can chat with me. All right, so I am going to go onto here and see if I can share this screen here so that we can take a look at what is going on here with the plantar fascia. I like this video because it shows this person wearing flip-flops, which is the last thing you want to do in terms of your footwear when you're dealing with this condition. But here you can see that as this person is lifting their heel, it's kind of shortening the plantar fascia. So that's what you're seeing there in the purple. And then the red is that impact zone. So that's the load that's transferring down into the heel, and in that red that you see right there, that's all of that potentially inflamed tissue. And that's a different video. All right, so let's go on to now gaining a better understanding of the other muscles that are connected to and relate to the plantar fascia. So you may have already heard that calf stretching is really helpful when it comes to plantar fasciitis. And I'm going to show you here in this video why exactly that is. So I'm going to turn off the music because I don't know if you can hear me when that music is playing. But what you're seeing there is the gastrocnemius, the calf muscle. As this person is pointing and flexing, you can see the muscle turn on. So it's shortening and lengthening. And it's attached from the Achilles tendon through the heel. That's where it attaches to the heel. And then the tendon continues to go to the toes. So you can see why, if your calves are tight, if they are short and tight, how that is going to affect the plantar fascia. So what it's going to do is it's going to pull and shorten those muscles, and all the way, that's going to transfer all the way down to the bottom of your foot, to the plantar fascia, and shorten the fascia as well. And so when it comes to fascia, you really want to think about lubrication, you want to think about fluidity, length, and pliability, elasticity. Those are all words you want to consider when you're talking about fascia. These are all good things. And so that's why stretching your calves is the #1 exercise that you would want to try if this is something that you are struggling with. Okay, so in my video here, this is from my foot program, my foot pain relief program. I'm going to offer to everyone in this group, if you're a part of the Thrive Beyond Pain community and you would like to get this video, go ahead and pop in the chat that you want foot pain relief, and I will send you this video, which is a part of my foot pain relief course. So here we go. So this is again how I like to stretch the calves when you're on your back. Doing it this way also stretches your hamstrings, which lengthens that fascial line. It's called your posterior chain, lengthens that line all the way down the back of the leg. And so in this video, I go over some stretches and some exercises that you can do that would be really helpful if you are struggling with this condition. And I also have this link to these props that you could use. I don't know where my screen went. There we go. Let's try this over again. Okay, it did show up there. So I can also send you, I will link it below, these props, a TheraBand, a ball. These are all helpful tools to use when you are dealing with this condition, and they are pretty easy to find on Amazon. They're not very expensive, so I would definitely suggest getting at least a TheraBand and a massage ball to roll out the arch of your foot. So let's go ahead and go over now some other conditions that are related, but that are not plantar fasciitis. So you could be experiencing heel spurs. A lot of people that have plantar fasciitis also have heel spurs, but you could have heel spurs and have it not be plantar fasciitis. So those are bony growths on the heel that can also cause pain. You could also be having Achilles tendonitis, and because the Achilles tendon attaches to your heel, you could be experiencing pain there. It could also be a stress fracture in your heel, which is not very common. You would have had to, hit your heel pretty hard, but in that case, an X-ray would show whether or not you have a stress fracture there. And another one that one of my friends suggested that I bring up today is gout. That's another common cause of foot pain, but that's going to typically be more in the big toe, although sometimes people do experience it in the arch of their foot. It is like a type of arthritis that results in the buildup of uric acid crystals, which can lead to pain. So that could also be something that's going on with you. And so these are all things that if you're not exactly sure what's going on, then it would be good to go see your doctor and get some imaging done. But the only real true way to know if you do have plantar fasciitis is to get an MRI, which is not easy to get these days, depending on where you live. So I would suggest doing the stretches and trying some of the exercises that I'm going to recommend today and seeing if your symptoms improve. And you can also work with a, exercise specialist like myself to help you figure out exactly what's going on. So some practical tips for morning foot pain. If you do experience that pain when you get up in the morning, you put your foot down and immediately you are in pain, what I would suggest doing, and this actually did help me, is to, right before you get out of bed, stretch your calves like I just showed in that YouTube video. So you can just stay there in bed. It's helpful if you have like a band or a strap nearby. Just grab that and pull down on the balls of your toes like I just showed in that video before you actually get up and walk, because that's going to help to stretch out the fascia that's shortened overnight. And that is going to help you experience less pain when you walk. Some people like to do a foot brace at night. It could be a short-term, solution, but you want to get to the root cause of why this is going on. And it's not because you're sleeping, because you've always been sleeping. So it can help to temporarily lengthen the fascia at night. But then as you go throughout your day, it's going to shorten again, so that's why it's more effective to be working on exercises and stretches throughout the day rather than when you sleep. But with all that said, for some people it does really help. So it's an option for you that you could try if this is something that you are struggling with. So what I would also suggest is, this is a big one, is strengthening your glutes. When I was going through this and I was doing some research to see maybe something I had missed that I should be doing that I wasn't already incorporating into my routine, almost no one was talking about glute strengthening exercises. They were all talking about your calves. They were talking about, all these other exercises, heel raises, and all these complicated ways to do them. I tried that out. It just was too much. So just strengthen your glutes is so important because your glutes are basically what holds up your feet. And in my course on foot pain, I really do a deep dive into how and why your glutes and your hips are related to your feet. But the number one reason is because your glutes basically hold up the arches of your feet. And so that is another big one, is we want to take a look at the arches. And if you tend towards having flat feet, then you are going to be more susceptible to developing plantar fasciitis, because that fascia is going to be kind of strained every time you put weight on your foot. So I go into those exercises more in my program. You can message me if that's something that you're interested in learning more about. But the number one key that really helped me to overcome this debilitating plantar fasciitis pain was visualization and prayer. And that might sound a little esoteric or silly, but just visualizing myself being able to walk without pain was so helpful. And so this is how I would do it. I would just sit in the morning and close my eyes and bring up an image of myself as the person that would not be experiencing pain and doing the things that I want to be doing if this pain was not limiting me. So the number one thing I wanted to be doing was hiking. And my goal is to be able to summit Mount Whitney, which is the highest peak in the United States, the continental United States. So I would envision myself climbing this peak. And I would not only envision it, but I would feel my foot, and I would feel each time I would step that I would be feeling joy as opposed to pain, that I'd be feeling good. And I would allow myself to really feel that joy of movement, of doing what I love to do and not allowing this pain to limit me. And that would give me, honestly, a lot of hope, because I would live it out in my mind first before I experienced it. And then just a few weeks ago, I was able to I didn't summit Mount Whitney yet because I still have some, makeup to do from all of that time where I wasn't able to hike in order to be able to do such a challenging summit. But I did hike 30 miles with a backpack on, which was really, really amazing. And so, the visualization tool can be something that's, really simple. You can just sit down for 1 minute, envision yourself doing what you would want to be doing. And, whether or not you believe in a higher power, you may believe in nature, the trees. There's something that you want to, like a higher power that you can call upon, that you can really ask for help and guidance. That can be really, truly supportive. And we also have the inner guidance, the inner healer. William Sutherland, who was a pioneer of craniosacral therapy and osteopathy, he was an osteopathic doctor who would talk about the inner healer and how there is this force within us that can truly heal whatever condition is ailing us. So this is another thing I would try or suggest doing, is in meditation, just sitting with your body and really calling upon that inner healer to take over and to help you out, because it does know, our bodies do know best. They know how to heal. And sometimes all we really need to do is to remember that and to support our body. So I hope this was helpful today, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about any of the things I went over today. Just pop that heart emoji in the chat and I will reach out to you if you are looking for more guidance and support so that we can find an individualized tool that can work for you, because everybody's body is different. Everyone needs something different for their healing. Maybe for you, you need a massage ball under your foot. Maybe you need that visualization tool. And this is what I do in my program when I work with folks. I also have that video that I'm offering only the Thrive Beyond Pain community for free. Otherwise, it's a course that is a paid course, but I am offering that video where you will get those foot and ankle exercises and stretches. So go ahead and pop in the chat video and I will send that over to you. So just to wrap it up today, I wanted to thank everybody for listening, for joining me. If you're watching the replay, or for the folks that are here live today, I appreciate your time. And just remember that your body can heal. And, sometimes all it takes is just really trusting and knowing that our body can heal and that it knows exactly what to do. So I would really encourage you to explore not only the physical aspects of recovery, but the spiritual aspects of recovery, the emotional aspects of recovery. There can be many layers to it. So I hope that is helpful. And I also wanted to make a quick announcement. I am really excited for next week's live stream. My friend Austin is going to be joining us, and we're going to be doing a workshop. It's kind of like a mini workshop that we're going to be doing at the same time. So it'll be next Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're going to be talking about fermented foods. I'm really excited about this topic because I love fermented foods myself, and I've found them to be really helpful for me personally on my healing journey and to really support my body with the best nourishment possible. So I will post that event in the group. We're going to be talking about how to restore your gut health with fermented foods. Austin, he owns a fermented food club in San Diego here, and he's going to be jumping on to give us some insight on how you can use these foods to heal your body. So I'm really looking forward to that next week, and I will see you then. And until then, I'll see you here in the group. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.